everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Cape Town TV Open Studio. My name is Anam Mbombo. As part of Life Choices 30 Days of Youth Campaign. So today we are beginning with 3 exciting series where we look at different topics that are affecting the youth in South Africa. So today I decided to bring 2 amazing guests with me today to help me unfold this topic of today. We're looking at the lack of role models in South Africa and also community abroad. I have Suleila, a 19-year-old female, a second year to be exact, studying at UCT social worker, and she's from Zoo Kloof. I don't know if I said it right, but I think I said it correctly. And I also have Unathi Makola, a 19-year-old female from Ekukuletu. Actually, this year is doing a learnership, but planning to go to university next year and study psychology. Welcome, guys, on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as part of Life Choices, you shared your stories about what you went through and all the stuff and your past memories and also what you're doing now. So would you like to go first and share your story for me?
Okay, no problem. So basically my story was about the sport I did in high school, which was rowing. And my sport basically impacted my life.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of things, like to be humble. It was life-changing and things. So I think that's like just a brief about what it is about, the impact of my sport on my life.
So it has impacted you in what ways, you can say?
Like, it made me humble, it taught me life lessons, it took me places, gave me opportunities, and I can say it like played a big part.
Play a big part, that's interesting. So when you say it gave you opportunities, what kind of opportunities did this story of yours impacted you?
Like, I've been sponsored, like in my story it says that I've been sponsored to go race in Joburg.
Nice.
Like, I've competed in big races and things. And like, it also expanded my my opportunities academically. I succeeded and like, I've been an achiever after my rowing and things, so yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So you can vouch for yourself and say you can also mix sports and also mix academics at the same time. So
no,
you don't
definitely
have to like exclude them.
I know my sport that could help me with my academics.
Yeah. Oh,
it
that's
opened up my
interesting.
mind and everything.
Yeah, that's nice. And Unathi, welcome. Oh, I can call you Ufliki on the show. So can you just quickly share me your story?
When it comes to stories, I believe that each and everyone has a story to tell. And as much as yours could be different from another, but we all have a story to tell. So I'm just a child who grew up in a community, raised by a single parent, and you had to like survive, you know, because you had to go to school, you had to come back, you had siblings and all those stuff. So it's more about learning to stand up for yourself, learning to know what you want in the world and working towards it. So basically that's what my story is about. And yeah, working hard to reach my goals, and I believe that I have reached many goals I wanted to reach in my life, so yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Talking about goals, I know when someone finishes matric and then they want to go to university, you took a different route and you went to learnership. Can you just like quickly brief on us on that one?
You know, when you're in high school, you always have plans of, okay, next year I want to go to university and stuff. But sometimes it doesn't always go according to what you want. And for my story, it was different because it wasn't because of my academic marks or whatsoever. It was the situations at home. So I had to come up with a different strategy for my year to actually be planned accordingly, which is why I didn't sit back.
Yeah.
I found another route and went to do a learnership this year so that I can go to university next year. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So Suleila, I have one question for you. For someone who's already in university, and I'm sure she's planning to go to university next year, what would you say to her that she should expect in university? Because I know the life of university, how it's like, but for someone who's actually in her shoes, in the same age frame, what would you say to her?
Like, I would basically just tell you to like follow your own path, man. Because when you come in varsity, there's going to be a lot of different people and groups and stuff. And you're most likely going to be alone. But just do your thing and work hard because it's tough. The pressure's hard out there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, guys, those were our 2 amazing guests. They're still going to be here on the show talking about today's topic, lack of role models in our community. So right about now, what we're going to do is we have a studio audience on the show, but they're not going to be asking questions now because they have questions to ask our amazing studio here guest, but they're not going to be asking questions right now. They're going to be finding out how this lack of community is invading in their lives. So they have 2 questions they're going to ask us amazing studio. So guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to ask this to your audience, your fellow people. They're going to ask you questions on today's topic, the lack of role models in our community. But before we get into that, let's go to an air break. And when we come back, we get into the topic of today, the lack of role models in our community. This is Cape Town TV Open Studio. Yes, everybody, welcome to Cape Town TV Open Studio. You're still here with me, myself, and I, Anam Mbombo, and Unati Makula and Suleila, talking about the lack of role models in South Africa and also in the communities. So, guys, let's go back to the topic. Sumila, I'm going to ask you this question. Looking back at your story, and you told us how sport also played an impact in your studies and everything. Would you say you had a role model within your life while you were staying in high school, studying primary school and high school? And if you did have a role model, how was it having one?
So I know this one's quite common. My role model is my mother.
Yeah.
So like the reason why she's my role model is because like she never gave up and stuff. I've seen her she's been fighting tough battles for her children, which is just me and my brother. And like that kind of inspired like me to work hard and to do my best, because I really want her to sit back one day and to be grateful like for what I've become in life, and like my ultimate goal is to make her proud.
Oh, that's interesting. So Unati, would you say you had a role model in your life? And if you did, how was it having one?
Not repeating what Suleila said, but people who know me would actually say that even when I did orals at school, I used to pick my mother as my role model, because not only is she a parent, but she does everything to make sure that you have what you need. And I believe that your role model doesn't have to be someone on TV or someone who's actually something. It's someone you look up to, which is what I think our mothers are there for, for us to actually guide us to the path that we want. And I believe my mother has been that in my life, and she has been doing the most. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. As a concerned youth in South Africa, and let's say someone, because we have kids that are living without mothers, and they're struggling to find role models in their lives, people they can look up to and get advice from. What would you say to those people that they need to look at in terms of finding role models? Because most families, they don't quite think in certain areas, like if you want to do a presenting or you want to be an actor, they don't support that career. They want you to be a doctor, they want you to be a nurse. What would you say to those kind of youth out there? You said you can go first.
I can't go first.
You can go first.
In such cases, I think that we actually have teachers, and not only teachers around us, even though we don't really have people we can call role models in our communities, but I believe that each and every one of us has that special somebody that we look up to. And if you don't find that in your communities, we have teachers who actually pushes us to do the best. So at schools, you can find your role model. As I said, that your role model is someone you look up to, and someone who does, who actually gives you what you want in life, you know, the picture or the idea of what you want to be. So at schools, or sometimes as at school, we have programs, Life Choices, which is, I'm really proud to be a product of Life Choices, because we have role models, mentors, and people to actually look up to, because they push us to do the best. So
That's interesting. I love that you mentioned Life Choices, because not only for you, for me also, I've been part of the program for a very long time, and the reason why I'm here today is because of them. They gave me a platform to be the person I am, to take like risks, because I used to be that kind of person. I used to like shy out and not take risks, even though that someone look at me and they say, oh, this guy is talkative, but there's certain ways you sort of utilize yourself, is like you get into different things, you don't want to do certain things. So for you, Suleila, I know there's someone out there who doesn't have a role model. They don't see a reason to have one because they have previous experiences with, let's say they've been abused, or no one is supporting their career. What would you say to that person, also involving Life Choices? what would you say to that person they must do to get a role model, and what qualities you looked at when you saw your mother as a role model?
You're asking me tough questions. But I was gonna, just before that, I was gonna add like the education system as well. Like they need to educate you as well. Like it's not just doctors and lawyers out there that we need. So they need to like promote art and things like that young people actually find interesting and what they want to do and stuff. And like for the people that don't have role models, I feel like ultimately we all want to be successful in life, man. But we all measure success differently. So if you're not doing it for someone out there, do it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're also a product of your own choices. And life choices taught me that, like in leadership lessons and stuff. Because it's like everything within us, like everything we do is because of within, like what we're able to do, man. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of self-examining and to actually find what do you want for yourself and for your life, man. Because it's a choice. Everything we do, it's a choice we make.
Yes, everything we do is a choice. I love that. I also read it on some book. I can't remember. I'm not a reader, guys. I just love going through books. For you, Unati, you shared your story. Everyone read it.
Yes.
It was touching, emotional, and some of us did relate it. And I'm sure there's someone else there who related to your story. Would you say you are a role model right now after you shared your story?
Funny enough, I would say that I'm a role model because right after the story, I had people actually came to me and asked, how did you do it? Because people just have this outer picture of you and they think you're actually doing just fine, you know, not knowing that, as I said, we all have our stories to tell. And when you're actually going through that alone, you actually think that no one else is actually going through that, you know. So after the story, I felt like a role model to some people because they actually related to the story and were like, wow, this is amazing because you're so young and you have been through all of this. So it actually shows how you inspire other people out there.
Oh, I know, because a lot of people think when you are in ages of 15 or 16, you can't go through hardships. Actually, you do go through hardships because you don't have to be 21 or 22 like us to go through difficulty. It doesn't have an age. It's exactly like she says, guys. She is 19 and she's been through. But this is Cape Town TV Open Studio. This is Anam, and we're coming right back after the show with more depth on today's topic, the lack of role models in South Africa and also in our communities. And we are bringing in right now after the break our studio guests, studios audience, and they're going to be asking questions. And they say they're nervous, but I don't know why they're nervous because it's their people, it's their friends asking them this question. So this is Cape Town Studio with me, myself, and Anam. Coming right back. Welcome back, guys, on Cape Town TV Open Studio. You're still with me, myself, and I'm Mbombo. As I promised you before the ad break that I have a studio audience that I'm going to be asking questions about today's topic, the lack of role models in our community. Hi guys, welcome on the show. You guys look so excited. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Bulela. As a lot of people know that we lack role models in our community. We don't have people we look up to, people that are actually in the paths, in our career paths that we're into. What would you say for someone who's out there, why do we lack role models in our community? Why we don't have people to look up to?
I wouldn't say maybe there's a lack of role models, or maybe there is, but I think as people, when you look for someone to be a role model, you put that person on a pedestal. And the moment that person slips up, then you decide to like, no, I don't want to look up to this person anymore because of A, B, and C. But at the same time, we need to understand the complexities of people, that people have positives and negatives. So as much as we need to understand that the positives outweigh the negatives.
Exactly.
And at that particular moment will we see that actually there's no lack of role models. We just need to change our perspectives and find someone that fits the criteria to be a role model.
But for someone who's out there and they don't even know the qualities or the expertise of a role model is what, like, how do they choose? What do they look at for someone who's out there and they say, oh, I look to that person? What are the qualities that I'm there in that specific person to look up to?
Okay. Sometimes as people, we don't realize, but actually you do have someone that you look up to, but you just don't realize that they're a role model. For instance, for myself, I always looked externally to find someone who's going to fit. Or, okay, I have a family member, ne?
Yeah.
She is the epitome of success in our family. She was the first to graduate, the first to have a house in a suburban area, the first to own a car and things like that. So for a long period of time, I looked up to that person saying, one day I want to be like her. One day I want to own a house like her. I want to have a car like her.
Yeah.
I want to graduate like her. So for a long time, she was the ideal role model, not realizing that I have a role model right here under my roof. My parent becomes that role model because they also possess qualities, even though they're not the ideal role model in terms of our measures of success. But them pulling through shows that they are role models. And at the same time, the amount of admiration you have shows that that person has the qualities of being a role model. You just don't know it yet.
Oh, that's nice. Benny, I want to come to you. Can you pass the mic to her? I want to ask you, what impact does the lack of role model play in today's youth? Like for someone, let's say I don't have a role model. What impact does that have on me? Is that going to affect me on my school? Is that going to affect me on my family problems? Am I going to become angry at a child, or am I just going to drift off to another route?
In my opinion, I think that it doesn't have a greater impact on a person because, like me, I might say I don't have a role model, but then I still succeeded in life without having a role model in my life. So it's how you look at your life. It's how you take a person as a role model. So for instance, I had you as a role model. Okay, I'll look up to you and I'll say I succeeded because I had you as my role model. But also I can say I succeeded because I had no one as my role model and myself as my motivation to motivate me to succeed in life.
Yes, that's interesting. Talking about motivation, and the mic is on you. I'm sure you have a question to ask one of our amazing guests here. You can throw in your question.
Do you agree that there are not enough role models in your community?
Okay, I think I'll answer that, right? As we said that, firstly, a role model is someone you portray as a role model. So in our communities, maybe some children would see that we do not have role models because most of our communities, poverty is a huge factor. And as you see that when there's a poverty in a house or in a community, what parents or people in the community strive for is survival, which is all they try to do is get to work, find a job, provide for their families and for people to actually survive and for their children to go to school. So in that case, sometimes they don't see that those people are actually role models themselves, even though they haven't actually furthered their studies, went to university, they are role models in their own way. So
Stunning. Simahle, I know you have a question to throw in. Throw in your question.
My question is, since the topic is about a lack of role models, so my question is, what do you guys think can be done to solve this problem that we have, which is a lack of role models?
Like I said, with education, we can start like with life orientation. In life orientation periods, we can start like building up leaders, man. And like Life Choices comes in here because Life Choices had leadership programs. And I feel like they built us because all of us, like we're sitting here, we're a product of Life Choices. And they've taught us like listening skills, communication skills, to be selfless, you know what I'm saying? All the qualities that a leader needs. And a role model and a leader, I feel like they interlink with each other. So there it comes, start with education, start educating the young people to actually take that stand and to become a role model.
Thank you.
Oh, guys, that is so interesting. Thank you, guys, for sharing your views on this topic. And thank you to studio audience. And yes, guys, this is what we have for you today on today's topic, the lack of role models here on Cape Town TV Open Studio. Thank you so much to everyone who came. Thank you to Sayla. Thank you to Unathi for sharing your stories. This is me, myself, and I'm saying a goodbye. See you till next week. If you want to be on the show, all you have to do is email us on openstudio@capetowntv.org or call us on 021 4480 4444. Or if you want to read more of these stories, go to Life Choices website at www.lifechoices.co.za. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. See you next week when we talk about another topic, violence in our community. Good night.